Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy
It's
Tuesday indeed.
2 weeks in a row that we have not been on Monday because of our travels.
Yes.
Thank you to Becky for jumping in last week, but I'm so happy, Carly, to see you back and get to hear about your adventure.
Yes, you too. I'm happy to be back.
Yay. It's good to see you. And it's good to see that we already have some folks in the chat. First up this week is Orange Blossom and Tails. Congratulations, folks, for jumping in first. Always good to see you.
Yes,
We'll
thank
give
you.
some other folks a few seconds to join in. And as I was just telling Carly before we started, you have to forgive me if I stumble or mumble today because I just got back yesterday from my cruise. I'm still on cruise brain. Uh,
Oh,
and
I am with
and
you.
and you were on a cruise for much longer than I was, so
Yes.
you've got it times 10. But we will get through this. We will make
Yeah,
this show happen.
we will.
I'm gonna give it like another 30 seconds in case anyone else wants to jump in and say hello in the chat before we start. And then I think it is time. Let us go ahead. And it would help if I had my show script in front of me. Oh, this is going to be a fun one, folks. All right,
Yes.
let's do this. In 3, 2.
Please lower your head and watch your step while boarding.
Welcome to the Attractions Podcast. You are all clear for dispatch. Have fun.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Attractions Podcast, sponsored by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. I am Seth.
And I'm Carly.
And we are here to talk to you about the latest and greatest in theme park news and more, as well as what's going on in our own lives. And Carly, it is so good to see you again. Thanks again to Becky for stepping in last week while you were off on a National Geographic adventure. And I can't wait to hear all about it. And I'll also tell you maybe a little about my weekend too.
Yes, I am happy to be back. I was on a National Geographic Lindblad expedition, my first ever expedition, sailing out of Baja, Mexico. It was 8 days. And I can confirm when you go away on a cruise for over a week, it takes you days to recalibrate. I usually don't do long ones, to be honest. I usually do like 3 or 4. On the ship, I didn't feel anything. I have been rocking since getting home. It's
The
amazing.
worst for me after we did an 11-day transatlantic, it was hard taking a shower for a couple days.
Yes.
Because anytime I was standing in the shower, I would feel the whole floor, just everything moving. It
takes
wish
a
you luck.
minute.
Hydrate and sleep.
Yes,
That's
I've
all you can
literally
do.
been in bed the last 2 days
Yeah.
because I'm like, it's not even worth it to try to do anything because my brain is frazzled. But it was lovely. I have never been on a sailing where there's only 100 other guests. So I was
Wow.
definitely just curious about that experience alone. And I have to say, I really loved it. It's like very small. There's only 42 crew members, 100 guests. And so you really get to know these people that you are cruising with for the week. You know, one restaurant, one lounge. It's a totally different experience, but it was really just kind of what I like a lot about cruises, like meeting other people and finding out why you're there, meeting crew member and really getting to know the people. I love mega ships too, just a vastly different experience.
Sure. So what were some of the highlights? Because this was not just an ordinary, cruise to nowhere or go to a private island.
Exactly. Yeah. So this ship doesn't even pull into port. There are no ports. This is truly their thing, which is finding untapped destinations. And it kind of, everything's on a schedule, but it switches based on, the whales are here and whatnot. The weather's looking better over here. So that was just such a different experience. You would pull up to this beautiful landscape. No one's there, so the crew is bringing in on Zodiacs like water and drinks because there's literally nothing there. It's pretty wild. Definitely the highlight was seeing the humpback whales up close and impersonal.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yes. So it was pretty crazy. We were lucky that day. They were breaching a lot, meaning like when they do that free willy
Mm,
jump
yeah.
thing, and getting to see that in person was pretty wild.
Unbelievable. So for someone who has only done your typical, like, ocean cruises, mass market cruises, and are thinking of this, what should they know going into it?
Absolutely. I mean, this is a totally different experience. You have to be willing to kind of go with the flow. I
Mm,
do like it's very like scheduleized besides where you're
mhm.
going, like breakfast every day at this time, lunch is at this time. And I kind of like that feeling like you're on summer camp and then you just kind
Mm,
of show up ready and willing for whatever that day will unfold. The food was excellent. The
mhm.
service was excellent. You really get to know these people and all like the naturalists on board. You have bird experts and
Yeah.
whatnot. Everyone was super passionate about what they do.
Yeah. So it sounds like if you're the kind of person who just wants to sit by the pool or ride a water slide, not the cruise ship for you
No, there isn't
necessarily, but
even a pool or a hot tub on the ship, which is so crazy because the weather was like 90 degrees. And so you'd think, oh, there'd be a pool,
yeah,
but there isn't. That's just not like the style of it, but you could
yeah,
swim when you get to the destination. So I did do a lot of swimming.
amazing. It sounds like a once in a lifetime trip. I'm so
Yes,
glad you got to go.
absolutely. Well, I want
I
to
also,
hear about yours because
yeah,
I've been
I did not go nearly as far, but it was a once in a lifetime experience. I was lucky enough that Norwegian invited me on the inaugural sailing of the NCL Luna, which just
amazing.
launched, and this is basically the twin of the Aqua, which I got to do last year, and I loved the Aqua, and pretty much everything that I liked about the Aqua is on the Luna, with a few little adjustments and improvements, which I appreciated. I like that it's a mid-sized ship. It's not one of these giant mega ships. It's
Mhm.
obviously as intimate what you had, but it doesn't give you that. You can't get there from here, where you have to go down two
Right.
decks to go up two decks. A very natural flow. It was only 30% capacity. It was a non-revenue cruise just for media and VIPs. So obviously, it'll be different when it's full. But it was a really comfortable vibe. It's not like a carnival where everything's neon shining in your face. It's not
Yeah.
like Princess, where it's kind of like visiting your grandma at the retirement home. It's a nice, classy medium,
A
which
middle
I
ground.
really
Yeah.
appreciate. Um, the rooms, very standard for this class of ship. We had a family balcony that would sleep four. Great bedding, nice view, good size bathroom with a shower with an actual shower door. So all that stuff, really, exactly as you'd expect from a new ship. And then, if you're here on the Attractions podcast, you're probably interested about the attractions. So the big headliner is the Slide Coaster. This is a cousin to the one that they installed on the Aqua, where the Aqua name made a little more sense. So this is the Aqua Slide Coaster on the Luna, and it's basically identical. I will say that it felt like it had maybe even a little bit more kick coming into the first tunnel. I'll run the video here so you can see. It's kind of unique among water coasters in that instead of jets of water spraying you uphill or magnets, it's basically got a little roller coaster push car that comes in behind you, and actually gives you a good little thump in the back as the lights count down, and then you launch up the hill. I got to do both sides several times, and I will say I would give the nod to the right side. It's really got a nice snap as you enter that first curve, and it's got an extra little helix in it as well. It looks like Carly's computer has crashed, which explains why she's not oohing and ahhing over my videos. But the other highlight attraction, while we wait for Carly to rejoin the feed, is the drop slide. This is both of these, both the drop slide and the aqua slide are made by Weigand. And this one is very similar to slides that you might have seen, like the Abyss on Royal Caribbean, or the MSC World America has one. This is not quite as tall as some of those, but it gives you a really powerful first drop with a little countdown in your ear. And then there's a very steep, fast bit here before you hit the brakes, and you go slow for a bit and get a little glimpse outside over the water. And then the last little bit is quite bumpy, I guess, to create friction before the end. So it's vigorous, let's say that. I did a couple slides on that one, and that was about all my butt could handle. Something that we did get to see is they have made a lot of upgrades and improvements to Great Stirrup Cay. So we got to visit the new Vibe Shore Club. This is an adults only area where it costs about $100 per person per day. You get an upgraded lounger, padded with a nice umbrella, access to a slightly nicer buffet. Not quite as upscale as the Silver Cove area, which is the VIP area, but it is very nice. Get a nice little patch of beach all to yourself, and there are some extra cabanas for rent. I did think it was interesting, though, that the zip line goes directly over this upcharge beach. So if you want to sleep on the beach, you will have people screaming on a zip line over your head every minute or so. Another a recent improvement to this area is the lagoon pool. They've added a large man-made pool that includes swim-up bar. And Carly is back. Welcome back, Carly.
Thank you. I am so sorry. My Mac has a mind of its own.
I have those days, and my computer knows that feeling as well. Well, all you missed was me talking about the Aqua slide coaster and the drop slide, which are very similar to the ones that they have on the Aqua.
Amazing.
A little bit refined, but right now I was just showing folks the Vibe Shore Beach Club. This is the new adults only upcharge area. So you can get a nice lounger, and this is not an upcharge area. This is free and accessible to everyone. And this is the new lagoon pool with swim-up bars and loungers that are in the water. And they're doing a lot more improvements. There's a whole water park that is under construction, which unfortunately we did not get to tour. But hopefully it'll be ready by the end of this year. They have built a pier. If you've been on Great Stirrup Cay before, you know you had to take a tender boat, and it kind of takes a long time. They have constructed a pier. It's a temporary pier. They're going to be going back to tender boats for a little while in I think April. But by the end of the year, a permanent pier where they can dock 2 ships at once is going to be done. So a lot of big changes. It's funny, you'd be on Great Stirrup Cay and you look across to Perfect Day, which is Royals, and see all the development there, and it looks so much more advanced. Well, they're trying to catch up. There's a lot of stuff coming. So
it looks incredible, and I'm happy that there won't be a need for tender boats, because sometimes those are rocky.
Well, they specifically said that there are certain times of the year where they lose up to 70% of their visits to the island because the tender boats can't go, and they should cut that down to almost zero with this new pier. I'm an entertainment guy. My favorite thing on cruise ships is always the shows, and I think I kind of like to say that Royal Caribbean does kind of the best Las Vegas style shows, and Norwegian is kind of the best Broadway style shows, though in a way they've kind of flip-flopped a bit, because Norwegian is not actually licensing real Broadway shows anymore. You can still find Back to the Future on Royal and other licensed shows. Norwegian, what they're doing now is they've got real Broadway talent, but they're developing original works, some with licensed IP. Elton, based on the music of Elton John, is their newest one. And this was just spectacular. The director of this show worked for 7 years on Love by Cirque du Soleil.
Wow.
And it shows. The highlight of this is they do Rocket Man with an incredible aerialist in front of this massive video screen. If you've seen the Bourne Stuntacular at Universal, and you know the stunts flying in front of the video, this creates the same sort of thing except with Elton John music, and it was absolutely stunning. That's by far the best show on the new ship. I liked the Prince show on the Aqua just a tiny bit better because of the interactivity. With the dancers and the audience mingling together. But this, from a technical point of view and the choreography, just one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen on a cruise ship.
Wow. I mean, it looks incredible just from the small video that I'm seeing. So I can't imagine what's like in person.
It was, it really just blew me away. And then another brand new show is called Lunatic, and this takes place inside the Improv Club. So it's a very intimate experience, and it includes 4 cocktails, and you have a troupe of circus performers who are actually the same people who performed the Elton John show, and a live band. And it's very much Norwegian trying to do a Virgin Cruise Line show. It's spicy. It's, as someone who did Rocky Horror Picture Show for a very long time, it was kind of like an hour-long pre-show to Rocky Horror. So that's a good thing or a bad thing. Oh, sorry, I don't know where that cat came from. Depending on your tastes. As far as the drinks go, I liked about half of them, and it was a fun time. It was a good late night experience. For $50, considering I didn't love all the drinks, it was a little bit steep, but I'm glad to see them trying something new. Might need a little bit of tweaking.
Right. Yeah. And it's always fun to go to those late night things. And this is, a little more elaborate than just hanging out at the casino bar.
Yeah. And this is an adults only show. And other than like the adults only comedian, there's not a lot of stuff on Norwegian that's adult oriented. For most part, Norwegian is very much multi-generational. They want stuff that the whole family can enjoy together. But if you want to get away for your kids for an hour at night, this is an option.
It looks fun.
And then the very last night, the last thing we got to see was they're doing a Luna eclipse dance party, and there's nothing more amusing than watching a bunch of aging Gen Xers pretend they're raving like it's 1999 again, except without the mind-altering substances, because you can't bring that on the boat. But they had glow sticks. They gave out 3D glasses, and they showed a 3D movie on the big screen. They had people spinning flags and a DJ, and it was very overstimulating.
Yes, I can tell.
Kind of a good way to cap off a cruise. So yeah, there was definitely more stuff to experience on the ship than we could really get to in just a 3-night sailing. That's the tough part with these media sailings. But very grateful. Thank you to Norwegian for hosting me. And keep an eye out on the Attractions Magazine website for some more details. There's a lot more attractions, like they have a moon climber, which is kind of a ropes course where you don't need a harness, which I appreciated. And they've got a new midway with some carnival games and some other fun stuff to do.
You won't go, be bored on
You
that
can
ship.
not be bored and not go hungry either. Had a very good meal in the French restaurant. But for me, the reason to go on one of these class of ships, the Prima or the Prima Plus class of ships, is the Indulge Food Hall. We ate there every single day, and they have the best barbecue brisket I've ever had on a boat. And we had a reporter from India in our media group who said that the Indian food was really good. So when someone who's from India
That
says the
is
Indian food is good,
wild.
yeah,
Yes. Oh my
yeah,
gosh, that's
ate it
amazing.
every single day. So, all right. Well, that was a lot of ado. So without any further ado, it's time for us to jump into the news in the queue. All right, the D23 Ultimate Disney Fan Event is coming up in August, and we have details on ticket sales, the Disney legends that will be inducted, and more about this convention that takes over Anaheim every other year and will be landing back at the convention center in the Honda Center on August 14th through 16th, just before my birthday. And
Yes, a little early celebration.
I know I will not be there in person because this is like the Comic-Con of Disney conventions, and it is huge, it is massive, it is overwhelming, and I am happy to get the press releases and watch the videos from the comfort of my couch.
Yes, I am with you. I am glad I have experienced this in the past, but it is
It's a lot.
wild. It
Yeah,
is very nice to just cozy up on the couch and follow the news because there's
yes.
always a lot of great coverage, whether they're showing videos or you're following your favorite creators and journalists. It's a lot.
Sure. Yes, if you do not want to experience it vicariously, if you want to be there in the thick of it, there are some new rules you need to know about tickets this year. And the number one is you must be a D23 Gold member of any level in order to purchase tickets. In past, they had some tickets for people who had not subscribed to the D23 membership. But now you will have to have that membership in order to purchase tickets. The good news is there are lots of ways to get memberships, including free memberships if you subscribe to Disney Plus. So any of the, depending on which level of membership, though, you have, that will determine when you are able to purchase tickets. And these things go fast. If you want
Yeah.
the top tier of ticket, you may need to have the top tier of membership just to have an opportunity, because these windows open and close quick, and the website will be hammered. We guarantee that people will be waiting a long time in the queue, and some people will be disappointed.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely. I mean, and this is a multi-day event, so maybe
yeah.
you'll only be able to snag a ticket to the day you don't want to go. So
Mhm.
everything we basically know when the major things are happening, so at least you could try to pre-plan it.
Yeah. If you have been a a gold member of D23 since the inaugural year, since 2009, congratulations. I was a
Yay.
member back then. I let it lapse for a while. So I am not a charter member anymore. But if you are, you get first crack at tickets starting on Tuesday, March 31st at 10 a.m. Pacific time, which is just moments away from when we are recording this. That's 1 p.m. Eastern. So if you're listening to this live, you've got a half an hour until your window opens up, and that window only lasts for 24 hours. You'll be able to purchase tickets for any of the offerings during that period. So may the odds be ever in your favor. Go
Yes.
for it. Next up, if you have any of the paid membership plans, that's Essential, Choice, or Complete, your turn starts on Thursday, April 2nd, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern time. Thank goodness they're not doing it at like 7 a.m.
Oh boy, yeah.
Right?
Like the
And
Run
then
Disney early stuff, shenanigans.
And then finally, if you have any other kind of gold membership, that includes the free members, it's the Disney Plus members, you can join the queue at noon Pacific or 3 p.m. Eastern on Thursday, April 2nd. So you've got a few hours delay behind the paid members. And of course, there will be a virtual queue. Theoretically, there should be fewer people in the virtual queue since you have to be a gold member. But we will see. I think most of the people who are really into it were probably gold members. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
you can the key is though you can buy up to 6 tickets, and those tickets do not necessarily have to go to gold members. The person buying them has to be, but you can bring people along with you who are not gold members. So
A lot of
so how much
rules.
how much is this going to cost you? Well, we have at attractionsmagazine.com a handy dandy little grid
It's
to
beautiful.
outline all the ticket prices. The least amount of money that you can spend on this convention is you can buy basically a half day pass. It gets you in the afternoon of one day only for $49 per person. If you want to attend for one full day, that's going to cost you $99. And if you want to go for all 3 days, that's $297. Now, this is only a fan pass that gets you into the convention center itself. It does not get you into any of the big main stage presentations at the Honda Center.
This is if you want to go shopping.
I
mean, there's great exclusive merch. I mean, and
Now, here's the thing that confused me a little. You can buy a one-day fan pass that gets you into the Anaheim Convention Center for $99. Or you can buy a one-day ultimate fan pass that gets you into the convention center, plus gets you the least desirable seating, which is on the side in section 400 of the Honda Center for that one day, for the same $99. So I guess this is a matter of that one's going to sell out, and you might
right.
have the option. But if you get in early enough, you'll be able to get that one day, including the Honda Center access, for the $99. So another reason to join that virtual queue early.
Absolutely. And you're going to if you're going all the way there, you're going to want to experience what that Honda Center energy is like, I would think.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's where the big announcements that are, going to be the big news are all breaking. Information about films, information about television, and information about the theme parks. If they're going to drop some new concept art or announce a new project, that's where it's going to be at the Honda Center. Incidentally, if you're only doing a one day at the convention center and you want to see all of the models and other things that are revealed during the Honda Center presentations, you might want to go on the last day, because let's say that there's a big presentation about the theme parks on the first day or the second day. They're not going to have that stuff on display already at the Anaheim Convention Center until after that presentation has happened.
That's a good point. And also, if there's stuff that you do want to purchase, usually the merch lines are crazy the first 2 days.
Absolutely.
The last time I did it, I just had things I wanted. I waited to Sunday, and it was just so much easier.
Speaking of merch, one of the things that people go crazy about at this event are the limited edition pins.
Yeah.
And if you want just an opportunity to join a random selection lottery for the chance to spend money on one of these pins, you are going to have to upgrade to the D23 Ultimate Preferred Fan Pass. That's a lot of words.
Yeah.
That gets you 3 days of floor seating, whereas all of the 1 day and 3 day regular tickets, even up to $1,000, that's still not getting you floor seating. If you want floor seating, you're going to have to start at $12.99 for floor seating in the back. Or if you want to be closer to the front, you're going to be paying $2,599 for that 3-day fan
Wow.
pass, including the Honda Center, the Convention Center, and the opportunity to join the lottery to buy the pins. So that is an investment. And you're not done paying money yet, because every ticket is subject to an $11.25 service fee, and every transaction is subject to a $16 delivery fee.
Yes.
As
This is
far as
this is not a small financial
yeah.
investment.
Are they actually delivering a physical ticket for that $16
I
delivery fee, or
wish.
is that an
I miss those
e-delivery?
days.
Yeah, at least you would have a souvenir that you paid for that delivery. Anyway, if you are not among the lucky folks who get in on this sale, which, as we say, is likely to fill up pretty quick, there is going to be a limited time wait list after ticket sales close, so there might be another opportunity. So you jump through the virtual queues, you shell out a mortgage payment or two
Yes.
on tickets. What do you get to experience? All right, so here's the breakdown. The Honda Center showcases, which, as we said, are the highlight for the big announcements. Friday, August 14th is Disney Entertainment Showcase. That covers movies, television, Broadway, other forms of media. Saturday the 15th is going to be Disney Experiences, which means theme parks and cruise ships. And then Sunday, August 16th is the Disney Legends Award. And this is your chance to see in person their new class of celebrity honorees who come from all sorts of disciplines. Some of them are very closely associated with Disney. Some of them, the connections a little more tenuous,
But
which is
there's some
always
real
kind of
good
the case.
ones. There's some
But
real
there's
good
some
ones in
great
there.
ones this year. To run down them real quickly, we've got Chris Berman, director Jerry Bruckheimer, actress Susan Egan, animator Eric Goldberg, actress Anne Hathaway, former CEO Bob Iger, barely out the door and getting his Legends Award already.
Yes.
Imagineer Kim Irvine, actor Dwayne Johnson, musicians the Jonas Brothers, composer Lin-Manuel Miranda, and actor Alan Tudyk. I'm a fan of Firefly, so I am very excited that he is getting his awards.
Yes.
And also Kim Irvine joining her parent. I think, are her parents both? I know her
her mom
mother
is
is
for
a
sure. Yeah,
Disney
yeah.
legend. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yep. Well, no, her dad was Dick Irvine, so I'm pretty sure he's up there too.
Yeah.
So, yes, great crop of inductees, and you'll get to see this presentation on Sunday the 16th. And in theory, you can see this in the afternoon and then get back to the convention center for those final few hours over there. Speaking of that convention center, this year it's going to include both returning favorites and some new things this year. You're going to find a D23 Masquerade Disney costume contest.
Cute.
I'm sure the cosplay in that is going to be amazing.
Oh yeah.
Leslie Iwerks is going to be premiering a new feature film length documentary. And they're describing the show floor as their largest and most innovative to date. It's going to have a Mundo Pixar experience, an ESPN experience, Mickey F1 and a Formula One race car, as well as a Disney Lorcana challenge, and my favorite thing always, the Disney Archives exhibit. They always bring great things out of storage to put
They
on
really
display there.
do.
So the 3 days of the convention is not all, because there is a whole week of warm up to D23. And it kicks off on Saturday, August 8th, with the Walt Disney Archives opening a new exhibition at the Museo Museum and Cultural Center. It's called Capturing Life, Creating Character, and the Art of Live Action. So you can check that out on Saturday. And then Tuesday, the 11th, is going to be D23 night at the Anaheim Packing District. Have you ever been to the Packing District?
I have. There's a great
It's
cocktail bar there. I mean, that place is
oh
just
yes,
so cool
yeah.
and it's so close. It's like a really good little break from Disneyland.
It's a combination of like a food hall and little artisan shops and just a cool place for the community to hang out. Really lovely. I used to recommend that people take the Fran, which was a free on-demand ride service, but they have discontinued that along with all the art buses. RIP to art. Today
Yes,
is
such
the
a
final
bummer.
day. Still no word on who is going to be driving the buses to Toy Story lot starting tomorrow morning. So if you're out there at Disneyland parking Toy Story, let us know what happens.
Yes, I'm so curious.
Um, and Wednesday, the 12th, is going to be D23 night at Angel Stadium. Even if you are not a baseball fan, you're going to want to go to be one of the first 23,000 people attending, receiving a themed D23 Mickey bobblehead. And there
And
will
it's
be,
usually not a lot of baseball fans because I do
yeah,
follow this event because it's always a cute giveaway. So you don't need to
yeah,
feel deterred. Go get that bobblehead.
yeah. And 10% of those bobbleheads randomly selected will be a exclusive gold variant. And 2,299 of them will be showing up on eBay within an
Oh,
hour.
yes.
And finally, Thursday, August 13th, D23 at Disneyland, D23 day at Disneyland, which will be a fantastic day to wait in really long lines and experience almost no attractions with your fellow D23 members.
Yes, it is pandemonium. But you
It's
know what?
yeah,
If
it's a
you're
day
going to
for
go to
people
this,
watching. Yeah,
yes, you have to commit fully onto the convention thing.
if
So
you
it's
are
just like
going to
you got to
this,
go into it with a good attitude and give it your all and really embrace it because it's
yes,
a lot.
just
It's
go
exhausting
with,
and yeah.
just got to go with the flow. Go with the flow. All right. Well, I think that is about all. But there's more information at d23.com, and you can review all of these details at our website, attractionsmagazine.com. Next up, in more Disney news, a little closer to my home, spring break and Easter season is here at Walt Disney World. And sorry, I just have my phone is ringing. Is there any way you could chat for just a
Yes.
moment? All
Of
right, go
course.
for
So,
it.
if you are familiar with the Disney Springs bus loop, basically this is providing the transportation to resorts around the Walt Disney World Resort. And previously, Disney has always pushed, you can't always bring your private vehicle somewhere. Like if you want to go to, for example, Trader Sam's at Polynesian, the rules are kind of all over the place. And that is based just on the capacity. They don't have the room for it. So another great place is what I've done is if I'm hanging out, want to take some time to go to Disney Springs, and then maybe you want to go back to Epcot. So you're hoping to take that bus to the boardwalk. Well, you will no longer be able to do that during specifically busy times. So it may not affect you at all, but Disney has shared that they are going to begin limiting this complimentary service during these busy times like spring break. And the way that they're going to manage is there's no signage. Guests will find a cast member at the entrance to the bus loop at Disney Springs checking resort ideas. We were informed that this has been enforced during past peak busy times. So if you're hoping to go to a Disney resort to enjoy their restaurant decor, maybe you want to see it when it comes Christmas time, the gingerbread houses. If you are not staying at the resorts, it is best to be prepared. I will say I tried to do something like this around Thanksgiving. I was going to lunch at Disney Springs and then going to Jollywood Nights. And to be honest, I really don't mess around with Disney buses. I'm always like a rideshare girl because there's so many ride shares in Orlando, for as much as traffic is an issue. It's so easy to get a driver and it's much more affordable, I find, than other cities. But this one day I was like, I'm going to wait for a Disney Springs bus and save money. And it was like 45 minutes and it just kept piling up. So I truly understand why they are doing this.
Yeah. I mean, anyone who has tried to park in the orange or the lime garage during peak season and just like endlessly circled looking for a green dot above a parking space before you just give up and go home. Like, the pain.
Yeah.
I think that I blame social media for this, because for years this was a hack that you could park at the Springs, take a bus over, and not have to pay for parking, until it blows up with influencers telling everyone to do this, and
Right.
then they got to do something about it.
Absolutely. I mean, the other thing is I don't really see a solution to this the same
Yeah,
way you can't park at the Grand Floridian just because you want to go park there right now. It's like there's
right.
only so much room, and
Yeah.
these are all destinations people want to go to. So I think be patient, splurge on a minivan if you can, or just deal with waiting.
Yeah, rideshare waiting. Obviously, if you have an annual pass, if you want to go to Grand Floridian, park at the TTC and take the
Yep.
monorail around. But yeah, I think that the infrastructure can just barely keep up with the people that those buses are intended to
Right.
take at this time of year, and getting people who are trying to save on parking. Yeah, it's just not going to happen. So be aware, but I don't expect it to be a permanent thing. It'll be gone when the crowds are gone.
Yep. Just plan ahead.
Yep. Next up, we have a topic that I need to kind of talk about kind of carefully. Universal Orlando has sent out a survey to annual pass holders, exploring Epic Universe possible pass holder options. Now, I am an annual pass holder, and I do receive surveys. I'm not going to say necessarily whether I took this one or not, but their surveys are very clear that they are supposed to be private and confidential.
Yes.
They tell you you cannot screenshot them. You are not supposed to share the information from them. So I'm not sharing any information directly from any survey that I personally took. But I guess as a journalist, when it has been reported in multiple outlets, and people who have taken the survey and have chosen to disregard the agreement they made with Universal not to share, the information is out there. So I
Yes.
guess we can talk about it. But I
Right.
want to make clear to Universal that I like having my annual pass, and do not want to be construed as doing anything that would get it revoked. So, having said that, it is obvious from talking to multiple sources that every single person who got this survey got a slightly different survey. So any one article that you see, including our own article, that says these are the three options they are testing, they are wrong. There are thousands of combinations of different options that they are testing. And there's some common themes in those options, but every person who got this survey seems to have gotten a slightly different variation.
Right.
So before we talk about what they are offering, let's talk about what they are not offering. They are not offering a annual pass that lets you get into Epic Universe any day you want, anytime you want, without jumping through hoops. That's not going to happen. They say Universal's been very explicit, not just in this survey, but conference calls and stuff. They need to manage capacity for Epic Universe. Epic Universe simply does not have the throughput for all its attractions to accommodate all the people who are buying one-day tickets right now, much less every annual pass holder who would want to rush through the gates. So
Yes. So my dream of popping in for a beer at the Burning Blade Tavern is a pipe dream for a long time from now.
It's still going to be a ways away. So if you were not a fan of when Walt Disney World had very strict controls on reservations for annual passes and how many days you could reserve and when you could go, sorry, because whatever they do at Epic Universe, there's gonna be a reservation system.
Yeah.
It will be a multi-step reservation system. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have to decide what days you're going to the park months in advance, but days in advance, yes. Maybe weeks in advance, maybe, depending on what's available. How many days you can reserve, how far in advance you can reserve them, no one has any idea. There's nothing at all in any of these surveys with any of those kind of details. And honestly, the devil is in the details, because moving the park hopping hour from 1 p.m. to 11 a.m. At Disneyland made a huge difference. How whether you can reserve 3 days or reserve 4 days or only reserve 1 day makes a huge difference for how you plan out a trip. And we don't know any of this information. Here's what we do know. It seems like the 3 basic categories of options that they are testing for annual pass holders, going from the lowest to the highest. First option is just kind of what they're doing now. If you're an annual pass holder, you can buy a discounted 1-day ticket to Universal. You can do it. You still have to do it in advance. You still have to buy a date specific ticket, but you save a little bit of money off of the general public. That's what they got going right now. So that's probably not going away. That's my guess. New option, a bundle of tickets. You want to go 3 days this year? You want to go 5 days this year? You want to go 10 days this year? Who knows how many days they'll offer or how many you'll be able to choose from, but you'll basically buy a pack of tickets. Maybe you'll be able to use them in a 3-month window, a 6-month window, a 12-month window. There'll be an expiration date. There'll be blackouts. And then even after you've bought that pack of tickets, you're going to have to make a reservation each time in order to use it. So you've got, a limit. It's not just like I'm going to stop in for a couple hours because now I'm burning one of my, limited number of tickets. So this will still be a little less than buying a single day ticket, but it's not going to be, dollars per day. It's going to be still some money.
Yep.
So finally, we get to the one thing that everyone really wants, which is just plain an annual pass.
Oh, I thought you were going to say to go to Pizza Moon anytime they want.
To go to Pizza Moon. Exactly. Yes. Well, what we want is an annual pass, or we don't have to keep track of how many times we've gone this year, or that is a possibility. But if it happens, it will have blackout dates. There will not be the equivalent of the Premier Pass, where you get into the park 365 days a year with your annual pass. There will be blackout dates. There will be reservations. You will not just be able to show up on the day of without advanced warning. You'll have to know which day, and you'll have to know if there's availability for you to come on that day. And most importantly, you're going to be paying for this. The estimate that I have heard is that going from a 2-park pass with the studios and IOA to a 3-park pass with Epic Universe that has restrictions on going to Epic Universe is going to double the price what you're paying. Just about.
Wow. So you really have to think about this. Yeah.
So, we're going to have to, when the actual price comes out, we're going to have to really do a breakdown. I have felt for a long time that annual passes to Universal were a really good deal, even though, Islands of Adventure and the studios are only 2 parks versus 4 parks at Walt Disney World. When you actually did a count of the rides that people would actually want to go on, it was actually roughly equal, and Universal passes have been significantly cheaper.
Right.
And with Epic Universe,
after 4 p.m. Sorry, that is the greatest thing ever. Please don't get rid of that.
Well, I think the odds of having a free express pass at any time for Epic Universe is slim to none in
I'm
the foreseeable
assuming
future.
Just that it's not going to be included in that.
I think
no way I could see that.
Well, so that's a whole nother subject, is what kind of perks they would potentially add to annual passes in order to take away some of the sting of this huge cost increase. Because, we're talking, there's 11 rides at Epic Universe to be doubling the cost of your annual pass to get access to those, less than a dozen attractions. I mean, 13 if you want to include shows.
Right.
What kind of perks could they add to an annual pass in order to make that worthwhile? Well, some of the things that they have floated are something they're talking about, dynamic express pass access. So this might mean getting single ride express pass or express pass during certain hours, exclusive events like trivia nights and meet and greets, anniversary based awards, and also loyalty based rewards. Like the more times you come to the park, the bigger a discount you get. And also more discounts for people. Like right now, it's like if you have a Peacock and you have a Universal Visa card and you have an annual pass, you can use the discount from one or the other, but they don't stack. So what if you've got a stacked discounts? So these are all things that they are teasing, that they are testing and playing with.
But here's the thing: at the end of the day, having a pass holder event means nothing to me. I just want to get to Epic Universe, if that makes sense. Like
I agree.
Like, do all these things. I just want to go to Epic Universe, and I want to be able to actually go to Epic Universe. If I purchase this and then it's like I'm blacked out all the time, I can't see anything making that feel better to me.
I agree 100%. And the only thing that I think I accept that the capacity, until they add a couple big expansions to this park, they just can't handle a flood of annual pass holders, treating it like their personal backyard. I get that, but I want the ability to buy an after 4 add-on to this park. I want,
just about to say that. That's all I want. The park
is slammed every single morning, and then if you watch wait times, you see every single day people start hitting a wall by 3, 4, 5 o'clock, and wait times just plummet in that park. When it's open till 10, everything's a walk on, almost in the last hour or so, well, except for the carousel. Gets the longest line at the end. But even restaurants like Pizza Moon that are just slammed at lunch, if you go for a late dinner, you can walk right in. And I think I would happily pay for an after 4 pass that would just allow me to go in, enjoy the atmosphere, have dinner. I think that they would make their revenue back in restaurant and alcohol sales alone.
Absolutely. I mean, that's true. That's truly all I want. Like I said, I just want to be able to go. I want to have dinner. If I can get on a ride, that's fine. I just want to enjoy the vibes, because it is such a vibe perfect park. And they have to be seeing that maybe their like point of sales for all their restaurants after like 7 p.m. are significantly lower than the morning. So they have to be able to figure this out. Even if, I don't know if this would be possible. Like even if we couldn't go on rides, which that would probably just be impossible to restrict, but I would truly just purchase this annual pass for whatever cost they're doing. If it was, I can go around, eat, drink, and enjoy everything. Take it all in.
The other possibility that has been floated out there is the idea of the open hub. This is something that the park was designed to accommodate. If you look very carefully at each of the portals, there's little covers covering computer connectors where they could put the same kind of facial scanning turnstiles that they have at the front of the park. They could move those to the portals, and they also have space to put them in front of Stardust Racers and Constellation Carousel. So if they wanted to open the gates and let people after a certain hour just come in and experience everything in the central Celestial Park in the hub, spend money at Atlantic, and that could definitely happen. The infrastructure is there covered over, and it just depends on if they decide to flip the switch and do that.
There's certainly so many options and so many ways this could go. I hope I'm not disappointed, but this one to me seems like the best idea to do the hub or after 4, after 5, whatever.
Again, we want to make very clear that this was a confidential survey and should not be taken as an announcement. This does not mean anything is going to happen immediately. It's a sign that they are, developing these plans, but don't plan on rushing out tomorrow to buy an Epic annual pass, because this is going to be a slow rollout, I think.
Yeah.
All right. Last but not least in the news in the queue, the U.S. Department of Justice has filed a lawsuit against SeaWorld, actually against all of United Parks and Resorts, which is the parent company of SeaWorld and Busch Gardens. But SeaWorld Orlando has kind of become the poster child for this, because they have restricted people from using certain mobility devices. And the Department of Justice says that violates federal disability law. Over the years, we have seen various lawsuits regarding people who want to use one particular type of mobility device or another. The most famous one was folks who want to use Segways inside Disney World. And that went all through the courts. And it was finally decided that, as long as Disney was providing alternatives like walker or like wheelchairs or ECVs, that they could restrict people from using Segways. Which, does anyone remember Segways? They were really hot.
Yeah.
They're really hot for about 15 minutes.
I remember
the
kids Segway thing you could do at Epcot.
Yeah, they actually had guided tours with Segways. But even on those guided tours, people would occasionally roll off into the flower beds. And
it just sounds so dangerous to me. Yeah.
Yes. I got to try it a couple times, and it had a kick. And if you did not have good balance and dexterity, you could definitely cause some trouble with those. So Disney won that lawsuit, but we've got a whole new Department of Justice these days. So who knows what will happen with this new lawsuit that is all over rollator walkers with built-in seats. I know everyone has seen these. These are kind of four-legged frames with wheels on the bottom that, sort of like the old-fashioned walker that you would see in a hospital, except these are a little sleeker and more modern, and they have a seat that flips down so that you can turn around and rest in them. The problem is that SeaWorld says that people have been misusing these in unsafe ways. I personally have not seen any video, social media clips or anything of, I don't know, someone derby racing in one of these, or I don't know, but I assume that there have been issues with maybe kids jumping on them or whatever. I'm not sure if there was a specific incident that made them ban them, but basically a little while back, SeaWorld stopped allowing these in the parks. They put up signs, and they'll basically give you a loaner wheelchair or a walker without a seat. But according to the Department of Justice, that is not good enough.
Interesting. Very interesting to follow. Yeah.
I don't have enough information about this lawsuit to know whether SeaWorld dotted all their I's and crossed all their T's to make sure that they were following the letter of the ADA. The wiggle room is in the ADA talks about alternative options and equivalent access. And if you say you can't do this, but you can use this instead, whether those two things are truly equivalent. I imagine for someone who is dependent on a rollator with a seat, and that's what they're used to, that's what they're comfortable, that's what gets them through life, and they're told, no, you can't use that, you have to use this other thing, that could be distressing. But I don't know. I guess the question is, if SeaWorld is ruled against, what does that do to every other policy that every other theme park has? Does that then get also reevaluated?
Right.
So I think a lot of lawyers are going to make a lot of money off of this case.
I think so too. We will definitely be following along.
Yeah, we will keep you posted on this. Interestingly, this comes not long after Disney shareholders voted down a proposal to reevaluate their DAS system. There have been activists who have wanted DAS to be revamped because it only accommodates folks with certain forms of autism, but it excludes a lot of people with other mobility and physical limitations. And they got the question of whether to hire an independent evaluator on the shareholder ballot, which is pretty impressive, but it got defeated very soundly. So that's not happening anytime soon. All right. That brings us to the end of maybe our longest news in the queue ever. But before we jump into our main attraction, if anyone is still with us, yes, there's some people still with us, it is time to hear a word from our sponsor.
The Attractions Podcast is brought to you by MEI and MEI-Travel. Whether your next vacation is a magical trip to the theme parks, an exciting adventure to the pyramids of Egypt, or just a relaxing cruise on the turquoise waters of the Bahamas, MEI-Travel provides premium service and expert advice to help you get the most of your vacation. They are always free of any hidden fees or costs to you. Visit them at mei-travel.com.
It's time for the main attraction!
And for our main attraction, we are heading across the pond to Paris, or rather the beet fields right outside Paris.
Yes. Close enough.
Disney has just opened their newest theme park. It's actually not an entirely new theme park, but it's a theme park with a brand new name. The Disney Studios in Paris, which were universally recognized as the least impressive Disney theme park on the planet, is now Disney Adventure World. And it's got a brand new Adventure Way and a brand new World of Frozen, with more new lands planned for the future. And our reporter Chloe was there and brought us a full review of the new park. We have gone so far over time that
Yeah, I also feel like we talked about this a lot.
We have, but
it
is great to see someone finally get to experience it and to read their thoughts. So I really encourage you to go to attractionsmagazine.com and read Chloe's full review. But I did want to touch on a few of her observations. First of all, the Adventure Way. This is this huge new pathway leading to the expansion. The park was previously this weird kind of collection of dead ends and cul-de-sacs.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's a giant new lake with a pathway going around it and new boulevards. And I have a few thoughts seeing these photos from Stephen Kennedy, and also seeing Chloe's description. And they kind of confirm something I thought from the concept art, where that it's lovely, that it's big and broad. It's like these wide Parisian boulevards with these Art Nouveau lamps and gorgeous paving work. But it also feels really empty. Like it's a lot of open space, and it's good that they have a lot of room to expand. But right now it just looks like this big kind of expanse of benches and bushes with not a lot there.
Yeah, there's just not a lot to look at, which I was definitely surprised by.
Yeah, there will be more. There's the flying swings ride themed to Up that is not yet open. But there's an English Gardens, and there's also the Rapunzel ride, which is like a teacups ride, but apparently a little slower than the teacups and a little smaller than the teacups. But it does look really pretty with the land.
It does. Looks beautiful.
The new premium dining experiences look really gorgeous. There's the Regal View and Cafe Luminosity. Beautiful. And, for being near the food capital of the world, food at Disneyland Paris has never been particularly good. But it does seem like they've got some more creative options, that they've tried to up the food quality a little. And this
is the first bar in.
I would say that I'm bearing the lead for you, right? Yeah. This is what about. There's now finally a bar inside that you can access from inside the park. So that's a big deal. Though I guess you were always able to get beer and wine at the
Yes, but not necessarily
fast
like
food.
be at a
Yeah,
lounge, like
yeah,
I've been to like Annette's
yes,
Diner in Avengers Campus and gotten a glass of wine and like a
yeah,
snack and sat there, but
yeah.
yeah.
It's not the same as being able to get a cocktail in a nice
Yes.
lounge, and it really
Mhm.
is gorgeous decor. One thing though that Chloe noticed is there's not a lot of cover. This is a park where it gets really cold. They're open year round,
Mhm.
and French winters are cold.
I have
Um,
seen it snow there several times.
yes, when I was there, we had some freezing rain and we had some flakes, and it was a very strange experience.
I loved
Um,
it because it just
but
doesn't feel right.
but what was great about it was that the Disneyland park has all these covered areas, these awnings and passageways, so you can get through a lot of the park without actually going in the open air. Not a lot of that here. A lot of some trees, some greenery, but not a lot of covered walkways. So, like I mentioned, they've got the Rapunzel's Tangled Spin Ride. Um, uh, she noted that the whole area kind of is reminiscent of Efteling, which is my favorite park in Europe.
Mhm.
And it's probably no coincidence that the director of Imagineering for this was a designer at Efteling before he came to Disney. So the big news, of course, is World of Frozen is open, and this is basically a clone of Hong Kong's World of Frozen, except it doesn't have the little roller coaster. It doesn't have the interactive show. It does have a little meet and greet that's added, and it does have a little show that takes place out on a boat on the water. But the Frozen Ever After ride is basically identical to
Mhm.
the one in Hong Kong. But they did make the boats a little wider than Epcot's, so it's got more capacity. And I will testify that the drop is more intense on these versions. You get
Wow.
splashed on it in a way that you do not get splashed in the Orlando version, for sure. They also expanded the gift shop a little, and they've got some little Easter egg references to other Hans Christian Andersen stories in the gift shop, which I think is nice.
I love it.
So little boat show happening in the lagoon, and there's also a new light time show happening over the lake. It's called Disney Cascade of Lights, and it uses a combination of drones and also these new water drones, plus water fountains and screens and fireworks. The technology is really impressive. Chloe did not find it quite as emotionally engaging as Tales of Magic, which is the other show out at Disneyland Paris. But it does look like they put a lot more tech into it than we have in any of the current nighttime shows in the States.
Yes, definitely worth a read. It goes very detailed.
I got one beef with Chloe though, in her review though, when she talks about the restaurant. I believe that she puts down the restaurant because it serves IKEA food, and I gotta say I love IKEA food.
Me too.
I love IKEA cafeteria food. So if um, in Hong Kong, I mean, it was elevated IKEA food. Like
Yeah.
yes, they had the salmon and they had the meatballs, but they were definitely elevated. And so if it's the same as Hong Kong's food, then I would say give it a try. Though based on my other eating experiences at Disneyland Paris, I would say maybe just go to an IKEA instead.
Yes. Don't hold your breath.
But don't say anything bad about IKEA food around me.
Yes.
All right, that is going to bring us to the end of this week's show. But before we go, let's take a look back and see if you left us any comments. And yeah, no, we'll pass on that. And it also looks like Carly's computer may have crashed once again. It's just one of those days, huh? Well, all right. In lieu of that, before we go, I do want to thank our sponsors, MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. And please ask you to go ahead and purchase your copy of the Epic Universe magazine at our website. You can get that in print or digital. You can also please give us a rating or review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever else you happen to listen to us. And give us a like and subscribe on YouTube. Also, please be sure to follow us at attractionsmagazine.com and search for Attractions Magazine on your favorite social media accounts. You can find Carly when she comes back to the interwebs at Carly Caramano. And you can find me at Eskabursky and at The Unofficial Guides, and pick up copies of my guidebooks at theunofficialguides.com. And until next week, we will hopefully be back to our usual time. I hope you folks stay safe, try something new, but most importantly, have fun. And we will see you again next time. Bye.